Peace and love. Peace and love. How are we doing? How are you guys doing? I'm doing lovely right now. Nice greens, banana and strawberry smoothie right now. Some coconut water. We're hanging out. Oh, here's around that. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a beautiful day today. Ooh, who's in the room? Yep, good sun. Catching some rays here. Worked this morning, not worked out. Who needs to work out when you're eating healthy? Gotta get into this download in a little bit. But I hope, so for anyone who watches this, I just want you to bring to the front of your mind right now one thing you love about yourself. Right? Then I want you to think of 2 things you love about other people. I want you to think of 3 things you love about nature. And I want you to think about 4 things. Hey, my reflection. And 4 things that are in your power that you can change. Right? So 1 thing that you love about yourself. 2 things that you love to see in other people or love about other people. 3 things you love about nature. And 4 things you have the power, the control to change in your life. Right? So why do I talk about this? Well, I've been having some conversations with some beings the last couple days, and I noticed that most people, when they have conversations, they're trying to vent, right? We have this notion in society today of venting, right? Where every time you think about something and we vent, we're always trying to talk about negativity. We're always trying to talk about negative things, negative emotions about people. We're trying to release these things, right? And it's just like a very strange things to me. Because I was talking to a friend, right? And they were saying, well, you know, I'm just trying to be honest. Now, the truth is never negative. I'm going to say that again. The truth is never negative. The truth is always necessary, but it's never negative. Now, what does that mean? So, how we tried to explain this was, well, if you see someone who's out of shape, right? And he's like, and you feel like telling them, you know, here's some things I can help you with, you're out of shape. Now, someone being out of shape is not negative, right? There's no negativity about telling someone that they may be a little out of shape. There's no negativity with pointing out something that's truthful, as long as it's not subjective. If it's honest, then there's nothing wrong with that. It's necessary. Sometimes people need to hear these things. However, how you express it, when you express it, so if I say they're fucking fat, or that's negative. That's negativity, right? So venting doesn't have to be negative. And this notion of venting is not something that we essentially need in our lives, right? Because truth is always necessary. So if truth is always necessary, right, it never can be negative, right? It can point out a negative aspect of someone, but that doesn't mean that it's bad, right? If someone comes to tell me a truth about myself that's necessary, that they see for me to change and adapt, I never should see that as negative. I should see that as, wow, at least now I know, so I can make a change. So let's bring this back to venting, because I think we all need to start to put this notion of venting in perspective here. Now, if you feel like you're always in a position, right, where you need to vent, right, where you always feel like you have this notion of needing to vent, right, then there's probably means that you're in a situation that no longer serves you, simply. Right? Because if I'm in a situation around, and I'm around people that I generally love, that I'm generally happy with, all these different things, do I really need to vent anymore? Are there thoughts and emotions that are so powerful and weighing on my mind that I feel that I need to express them to someone? And then again, when we see that, and again, if I'm feeling all this negativity, right, why do I want to put my negativity onto another person? So if you see someone having a great day, or you call someone into your life and you want to, now again, sometimes some people need help. You need constructive help, right? Now there's a difference. Like if I need constructive help about something, I'm coming to you with a question, right? I'm going to say, I have this problem here, and I'm wondering if you can help me solve it, right? That is being constructive. That is going to someone for aid. That is something that is okay. That is okay, right? So if I'm at work and there's a new coworker who joins, right, and me and them really aren't vibing, right, I'm not really sure how to go about it, so I go to my friend one time and I say, listen, I got this problem. What do you think I should do? Now, once I get that opinion, once I get that help, once I get that information, right, I should look to apply it, and then I should see what happens. However, I should not take a piece of information from someone, not apply it, and then continue to speak negatively upon the situation that is at hand. Because when I'm doing that, I'm not doing anything to solve my feeling. I'm really just I'm just living in this negativity. And now I'm bringing the negativity into someone else's life, right? Because a lot of the times, when you call on someone to talk to them, when you call on someone to vent, this is someone who's close to you, right? So they probably feel an emotional attachment to you, and you feel one towards them. So if that's safe to say, right? So if I'm always speaking negativity into their life, and they're emotionally attached to me, that's why we are able to vent to one another. Am I helping them? What am I doing for their life? How am I bringing positivity and joy into their world if every time I see them, I'm always bringing this negativity up from my life? Because I know a lot of us probably have those friends, right? You know, you have those friends where they call your phone and you're like, oh God, well, I wonder what could be going on here, or geez, right? Everyone has someone like that in their life. So my question is, if you're always feeling that you need to vent to people, if you're always feeling that you have all of this negative emotion on your chest that you got to get rid of, right? Is that speaking more about you having great friends that will hear you out? Or does it speak more on the fact that you just are unable to get yourself out of the situation yourself? Or you might see the way to get yourself out of the situation, you're just not capable of doing it, or you might not want to. Now it goes deeper. So, everyone has friends, family. When we talk about all these things, we have to, again, I had a great download yesterday about this notion of detachment, right? This notion of how to always be detached, but how to always love and appreciate things. See, like, the weird thing is, when I speak about detachment from things to people, they try and make me feel like I'm cynical, like I'm sinister. When really, all I do is help other people. However, I've been helping a lot of people my whole entire life. My moon is in Cancer, right? So I'm automatically a nurturer. My Mars is in Cancer, so I'm a nurturer. All my energy comes in this form of nurturing. Now, with my Sun and Mercury are in the 8th house, I like to get deep into things, right? I like to understand the psyche. I like to understand. So I always had people coming into my life who always needed me to vent to me, to come to me for advice, to come to me for opinions, to come to me for these type of things, right? So once I started to realize that, which was thankfully it happened when it did, because once I finally started to see that in my astrological program, it started to change things up. But back to what I was saying, I have that knack to nurture. So when I would bring people into my life and they'd come to me with problems, as people do, right, I would always feel the need to help. Like, and once you tell me a problem that you're having, like, I can't help but want to get involved, because that again is my moon and my Mars and Cancer in the 10th house. My occupation is to nurture. I know that, right? So I had to start to think about, well, if this is my knack, this is my need, I feel, and there are other beings like this who are empaths, who are empathetic, right? Where you feel when someone has a problem, you just want to go out of your way to solve them. This is for you people, right? This is for you guys. You have to remember that your emotions are under your control. Your emotions are under your control. Your mind is your realm. Your body is your realm. So if you have to be the gatekeeper to your realm, I must be the gatekeeper to my realm, because who will be the gatekeeper for my realm if no one else will be? So if you always notice that when you have certain people come into your life, they're always speaking of negative things and venting on you and not really looking to solve their problems, right? Like, I'll have people come to me, because I'm a herbalist, they see me do this kind of work, and they have all these illnesses. They have chronic illnesses, they have sicknesses, they have things going on, they're out of shape, and they ask me for my help, right? I give them my help. Sometimes I'll go shopping with them, I'll shop for them, I'll get them set up, I'll do all these things, but then they won't follow the necessary steps after. However, when I get around them again, they'll always bring up these problems. They'll try and reconnect me to the issues. And that's where I say that we have to learn detachment. Because before, in my lower self, I was very attached to that stuff. So when someone would come back in my presence after we'd have this, and they wouldn't follow through with some of the things I spoke to them about, I would still feel bad. I feel like, damn, like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? Maybe I didn't give them a proper nutritionary guide. Maybe because they didn't like the foods that I helped them with, that they didn't follow through. But then I started thinking about myself, right? And about some of, like, my journey within this. I was sick. Facts. I was sick at one point, right? And when I was jacked, like, people who know me, when I was like, I played basketball in college, I was a trainer at one point, I was big, I was probably about 40 pounds bigger than this, all muscle, right? And at that time, right, I was having problems where I was pooping blood, had blood in my stool for about 1 year, right? And at that time, everyone's telling me, you look great, you look so healthy, you keep taking this protein, keep taking all this, eat all this meat, eat all this dairy, get your calories up, right? And I was sitting there like, okay, here, like, I'm following this, I'm looking healthy, I'm not having healthy bodily responses though, right? I'm not having any healthy bodily responses, my body is messed up. So I'm like, wait a second, I have to start figuring this out, because everyone around me is giving me positive feedback on this thing right here. So what did I do? I stopped. I remember I watched Eat to Live one day. I watched it probably, I was going through some stress. I remember I just started, like, practicing, like, Islam a little bit, so there was dietary restrictions. So I was like, oh, wait a second, I shouldn't eat things that are unclean. I shouldn't eat this type of animal, I shouldn't. So I started getting into, like, dietary restrictions. Then I watched Eat to Live by Dr. Sebi. Then I was like, wait a second here. Wait a second. Right? The herbs? Because no one was ever telling me about herbs. I had actually gone to the hospital, right? I had a spell once. I was in the gym, and I was sitting down, and I fainted. In the middle of the gym, I fainted. I went to the doctor, they were like, no, just take some X-Lax, you're constipated. Take some X-Lax, take some Miralax. You're okay. And I was like, I have some blood in my stool. They're like, oh, they ran a CAT scan, they're like, we don't see anything, but, you know, you're probably just heavily constipated. It's like, wait a second. So it was going on for years. So I call my doctor back, they bring me in for another CAT scan, nothing. So I'm like, wait a second here. So I watch Eat to Live, and I start learning about the herbs, I start learning about the alkaline diet, and I'm like, wait a second. So I start putting it into practice. I put it into practice because Again, whenever I speak to my clients, whenever I speak to anyone who's coming to me, I don't ever speak to them from a place that I am above them, because I am not above them. I came from where they were. I came from no knowledge of self. I came from no knowledge of truly how to eat, to sustain. I didn't know how to eat sustenance. A lot of people, we get into illness and ailment because we don't eat for sustenance. We eat for pleasure. We eat to feel full. We eat for taste. So I started to have to reprogram how I look at these things, right? Within 2 months, my stool was regular. Within 2.5 months, no more hemorrhoids, right? No more blood. Energy. I could wake up. I was waking up at the sun every single day. Every day, 5 o'clock, up. Full energy throughout the day, right? Then I started to restrict my diet more because I realized that, even with this, I'm still eating some meat replacements. I'm still eating things like this. And I see there's sodium. I see there's things like this. But let me make it cleaner. Let me get my diet cleaner, right? Let me even take more steps towards having a clean diet, right? Now, when this happened, I started to lose weight, right? I started to drop down to my natural organic body because I was eating organically, right? And wouldn't you know that those same people who were applauding me when I was sick started to reject me when I was healthy. So again, the same people who were applauding me when I was sick were now rejecting me when I was healthy. And that's something that we all need to start to think about, right? So when you're when these people are venting on you, when they're doing all this, but then you stop wanting to listen to them. You stop wanting to get involved in this drama. You stop wanting to get and be a part of this negativity, right? Because you feel like it makes you sick, it brings you down, right? They always reject you, right? They reject you for not wanting to partake in the sickness that's going on with them. They reject you for wanting to seek your own true health, right? And I still have beings in my life, because of my body frame, they want to question me on whether to eat protein and whether to do these things. And I have to tell them, I say, listen, I help people with chronic disease. I help people with sickness. I helped myself through chronic sickness. Don't you think that I want myself to live and want myself to live happily more than anyone else? Don't you believe that I myself want a beautiful, long, lasting, and loving life more than you want one for me? Because that's where we get into this weird place where when people aren't really sure of themselves, when people don't really feel healthy themselves, they like to, instead of worrying about how I can get myself healthy, how I can get in tune with my own being, they have to displace it on you. So they come to you like, what are you doing? Why are you No. I want to live a long and happy life. I want to be as healthy as possible. So if I want to be as healthy as possible, understand that the things I'm doing are only in pure health, right? So if someone was reading as many of the books that I read about health, if someone was watching the documentaries, if someone was on this level as me and then came to talk to me, I'd understand. But if someone is like eating meat, dairy, someone is smoking cigarettes, someone is doing all of these harmful things to their body, but then wants to come and lecture me about what I'm doing for my health, I can no longer allow that into my realm, right? I have to be my own gatekeeper, right? Because you always have people like that. And we have to start to realize this, that as a being, as anyone who's looking for a pure life, as anyone who's looking to do things that do not go along with societal patterns. And what are societal patterns in America, right? We're the #1 most prescribed country in the world, right? We take 95% of the world's prescription drugs, right? 95% of the world's prescription drugs. So if I live in a country where 95% of the people where we're taking 95% of the world's prescription drugs, yet I think we make up maybe 10% of the world's population, maybe less. Should I really want to go by the general population's views on really anything, right? Should I really? We have to start being logical, right? We have to be logical. Cancer is killing people at the highest rate, right? People are dying from cancer. People are dying from diabetes. Kids are coming, 1 in 4 children have autism. We are at a place where in our country, we are in an epidemic of sickness. An epidemic of sickness, right? So anything that's coming from general popular opinion, right? Anything that's being accepted by the general population as healthy, should you associate that with yourself in order to become healthy? If you look at the facts and if you look at percentages, you shouldn't, right? You should be trying to figure out what other people are doing. I should be trying to figure out what the 5% are doing. Because why is it that we need more prescription pills and prescription medications than India? India is 3.4 billion people. We have 200 to 300 million people living in this country. So why are we using more pills than India is? And why is their life expectancy longer than ours? We do not have the #1 life expectancy. See, the problem is that when you're in this country, you're bred from the time you're a kid to think that we're #1, right? So what you do is you research the half-truth. You research all the things that we're #1 in, instead of looking at the things that we're no longer #1 in, right? We're no longer #1 in many of these things that we thought at one point we were #1 in. So once I realize that we are not #1 anymore, these notions are not the most breaking ground. We're not breaking ground anymore. Once I realize that the only thing we break ground is things that have to do with the acquisition of money. So of course healthcare is up there. Of course they're giving you prescription pills and don't want to give you universal healthcare. Of course, right? So what are you questioning when you do this stuff? And that's where my thing is today. Understand these things. Understand the negativity. Understand the viewpoint of the people who are coming to you. Because once you can understand the viewpoint of them, then you can understand where to align yourself, right? Because that's where I always say, when I was the sickest, when I was the most unhealthy, I was getting praised for my health. When I was the most unhealthy, when I was the most sick, when I couldn't wake myself up in the morning, when my face was swollen, when my eyes were sunken in, when I had dark circles under my eyes, however I looked aesthetically appealing, I was getting praised. I was getting all the praise in the world. Everyone wanted to be around. Everyone wanted to see me without my shirt off. Everyone wanted to. But the second that I started to become actually healthy, not perceived health, actual health, right? Don't worry, I'm going to get into a download again and go live, because I did this on Instagram, but I feel like I need to bring this to Facebook about perceived value versus actual value. But we'll get into that. But this was my perceived health versus my actual health. So now that I'm actually healthy, I can wake up, I'm full of energy, vitality, to the point where I can even relate and give health to other people, right? I can help other people with their health. Now I get the most questions about my health. Now I get asked the most about protein. Now I get asked the most about these small matters, these things that don't, when you actually do the research. Again, when you do the research, you realize that this stuff doesn't matter. It only matters to look good. And then at a second point, when you walk down that path, you find that it doesn't end up with the best results. You won't live the longest, happiest life. You won't be the most vital. You won't have the most nutrient value, as if when you just live and eat for sustenance. If you eat and live just to get your metabolic necessity, your nutrient necessity, you'll find that you don't have to eat as much. And you'll become thinner. However, other things will start acting a lot higher. I was able to start thinking more, right? I'm at the point now where I don't read as much now because I've attained all the information I need to attain from books. But there was a point where I was reading 4 to 5 books a month. 4 to 5 books a month. You can check my Instagram, right? You look at my Instagram, over a 6-month period, I stacked up the books that I read in 6 months, right? Stacked them. I was able to my mind was so clear, I could sit down and I could read a book in a sitting, because I was able to just calm down and live in that moment and sit and read. How many people start books, get 2 chapters in, then never read the book again? How many people? I see people do it all the time. I go into people's houses, and because once they start seeing that I read, and once people, they're like, oh, I have this book, this book, and I'd always see that they'd have their bookmarks within like the beginning of the book, and I'd be like, hey, can I borrow this? I'd be like, oh no, I haven't finished reading it. And I was like, okay, can I borrow? Oh no, I haven't finished reading that yet. And I'd be like, well, okay. Well, why haven't you? Oh, I just haven't. I started reading it. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it. How many times have people heard that, right? Because you can't even sit down and give the attention to that one thing. So we have to start learning that once we start to clear our body of mucus, once we start to clear our body of hormones that don't serve us, of other animals' hormones, of hormone disruptors, once we start to clear our body of processed sugar, processed flour, all these processed things, we will realize that there is a whole different level to this that will go beyond the physical. And that's what I try and explain to people, but not everyone gets, that I am beyond the physical now, in a sense where I don't care about my physical body looks like. I don't care. I don't care. My physical body is nothing. It's merely a vessel for my spirit, for my intelligence, right? So it just needs to be healthy. As long as my physical body is healthy, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it looks like. A lot of us spend a lot of time on our physical body, yet the rest of our lives aren't in place. They're not in a place where we are happy, right? Our physical body will look good, but our relationships aren't right. The people that we attract to us aren't proper. All of these different things. So if I'm spending all this time on my physical body and manifesting my body, manifesting muscles, however, every female that I bring into my life, it seems like she's only into me because my looks, and she can't meet me on a mental level. Or all the places I go, people only want me around if I'm into certain things, and only if I'm doing these certain things. Like, I lost a lot of friends along this journey in the last 2 years. Once I stopped drinking, once I stopped smoking, once you stop eating meat, once you stop like playing all these, go to sports, I stopped lifting, I started to realize that I lost a lot of friends every time I'd scratch off a layer of a distraction or something that didn't serve me. I lose a lot of friends with that. It's like, wow, okay, damn, I don't go out to bars anymore. So that's 10 friends that I don't have anymore. 10 people that no longer hit up my phone. Once I stopped smoking weed, there was about 20 people no longer hit my phone up. Once I stopped eating meat, people stopped wanting me to go out to eat with them. Once I started to do herbalist work and stuff like that, people started to get nervous. People would start telling me they thought I did witchcraft, right? People, can you believe that? I became an herbalist and people were asking me if I did witchcraft, right? Again, do your research. So for my empathetic beings, for my people who are out there, who are out here really trying to make moves in their own life, who are trying to do better, who are trying to understand things, you have to understand, and people who want to help, people who want to get information and give it back, you have to understand that there's got to be a level where you're your own gatekeeper. You're the keeper of your realm, right? And if someone is always coming to you with negativity and never doing anything with the information that you give them, because most people, if you have people coming to you for help, if you have people coming to you for some kind of knowledge, if you have people coming to you for advice, know that they already see you as someone who has control and an understanding of that. So just use that as confidence and know, I have an understanding, I'm going to give them this knowledge quick, but after that, if they don't apply it, I no longer need to say anything. Allow them time to think on it. But don't ever speak on the same topic to someone more than once. If someone comes to you with the same problem more than once, don't speak on that topic for a second time. Just allow them to know that I gave you this information the first time, and that's it. I do things with people where I'll talk to them about something, and then the next time if they come to me and ask for the question, I say, well, what are some of the things that I told you last time we talked? What are some of the things we talked about last time you had this problem? And see if they remember. And see if they remember. Because a lot of times they do remember. They'll be like, oh, you said this, this, this. I'll say, well, then why do you need to come to me for this problem again? There's no need. There's no need, right? Only fuel. If someone comes to you for help once, give them that help, right? Everyone needs, if you have knowledge and someone needs that knowledge in a moment, give them that knowledge. Give them that knowledge. Facts. Facts. You will always be, yes. You will always be confronted by your own, yes. If someone comes to you and they need help, and always help someone in need, always. However, once you've given them the tools to help themselves, just watch. And if they begin to put things into play themselves, and you'll know when someone's trying it themselves, because the next level of, you always will be able to tell a next level of questions, right? Like when I take people out and we go grocery shopping for the first time, I'll know that there are certain questions that they'll come to me after the first grocery shop for. They'll be like, well, I did this. However, I feel like this sometimes. Then I'll say, yes, I know, because I purposely, again, don't cast pearls before swine. Leave a little bit. Leave a little bit, right? Like when I take people out for grocery shopping, I first give them healthy food. I don't give them the herbs first. I never give people the herbs first. Because if you give people the herbs first, they won't seek health. So I give them the food first. I say, here, these are the healthy foods you should eat. Now, once they start eating these foods, they say, yeah, this stuff is starting to work. I'm seeing this, and this are working better. Like I had one being I helped with recently. He was having problems. Whenever he'd go to the bathroom, it was watery. So we went out, we got some fruit, we got some nuts, we got some good starch type foods, and everything started to condense up more. He was saying, however, I'm still getting these certain pains. I'm still seeing these effects. So I said, yes. Yes, so now you're ready, so I can give you, so take moringa now. Go look up what moringa is. Take that. Go take this. Because I knew that he was putting in the work. He said, yes, I'm having headaches. He was having withdrawals from meat and sugars. Withdrawals. People won't even understand they're addicted to these things till you stop eating them and start feeling the withdrawals. That's something that people won't tell you, and you won't realize until you do it yourself, right? You will start to realize that once you give up meat, dairy, processed sugars, you have withdrawals. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having withdrawals from something that's supposed to be nutritious and give you sustenance? A withdrawal, like an addict. Then you know that this food is not for your sustenance, right? Because I eat nothing but food that sustains me. However, because of that, some days I'll go a day without eating and not even really notice. Have full energy. I'll go a full day with I can fast. I've fasted for 15 days, my longest fast, water. Just straight water for 15 days. But I still was working. I was still going to school. I was still doing certain things. I was still able to do all of these things. All of the same activities other people were doing, I was able to do that without eating any food. None. Then once you start doing these things, you start to realize how much what you perceive as health was given to you, not things that you really understand as health. Like life. How much of what you understand life to be was given to you, and how much of it was experienced and looked at in an objective manner. So for my beings out there who are empathetic, for my beings out there who are light givers, and for my beings out there who are like to help, for my people out there who feel like they have a duty to give to others, to give of others themselves and their knowledge, right? Use these things. Know these things. Know that it's okay. It's okay for you to not get involved in certain things. And know that people aren't gonna always be happy once you start to reserve yourself and once you start to look for health in yourself. When you start to become healthy in your own life, you'll cut people off. You'll do things that people will not like these things. But that's okay. That's okay. That's when you have to really remember that not everyone is gonna like you, right? We use that in a bad way. We use that because a lot of us are very negative, right? So when we say like this idea of no filter, no, always have a filter, but never filter the truth. Always have a filter, but never for the truth. Never filter the truth. Always give people the truth raw. When they ask you for the truth, you give them the truth raw. However, filter other things in your life. Filter your friendships. Exactly. Do not overstep your bounds of concern. Exactly. Filter things. Filter truth. Don't filter truth. Filter who is in your life. Filter these things. Notice that people won't be happy when you do that. However, you are your star player. You are the one that you have to be worried about in this universe. Because no one, unless you go to anyone and do something, you're the one who always has to deal with you. You have to deal with that loss of energy after you just listen to someone vent about all this negativity for so long. After you heard someone drop, like, just bringing you down, you're the one who has to go back to your house and sit on that, right? So it's okay for you to do certain things to guard yourself, to guard your energy, right? It's okay. It's okay for not everyone to like you, but don't let everyone not like you because you're negative. Make people not like you because you tell them the truth. Make people not like you because you seek knowledge of self and you seek health of self. That's a good reason for people not to like you. A lot of people nowadays don't like me because that's how I get down. They're like, oh, they have comments to say to me. They have little remarks, right? They have things that they need to get off their chest about me. Like I had it being gum in my inbox from someone from back in the day, right? And they were like, Matt, what's going on? I'm worried about you. I said, hi, how are you? I love you. Why are you worried about me? I hope everything is okay with you. I am lovely. They said, well, you're growing out this beard. What's going on with all that? I said, I'm not really sure what this question means. He said, well, I looked up to you as this macho being, and you are a macho guy. And I looked up to how, like, you used to handle yourself and this, and this. But I don't really like seeing you looking like Bigfoot. So I commented back and I said, I spend my days helping others with chronic disease. I spend my days helping others with chronic sickness. I spend my days helping others achieve health and knowledge of themselves. That is the most macho thing that I believe anyone can do. That is the most macho thing that I believe any person can do, is give of themselves to others in any sense of the word. So regardless of my appearance, my actions are speaking that I am allowed to do that. So that is all I had. For the rest, I just want to enjoy the rest of this sunlight. But that was my download for you guys today. Alright? I hope you guys are all having a beautiful day. I hope you guys are all finding it in yourselves to achieve knowledge of self and health. Because once you learn knowledge of self, you'll know knowledge of health. Right? And don't ever be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to filter out your environment so you can achieve health for yourself. Don't ever be afraid of these things. Because that is your right as a being. That is your right as your own individual consciousness to seek out your own health. To want to grasp an understanding of your health. And anyone who's not with that, know that they're not there for the benefit and the health of you, and handle them accordingly. That being said, I love you all and I love myself. Have a beautiful day.